Okay, so it's my hope that by going through the study guide and trying this out, that maybe it will help you guys out a little bit more. Um, the study guide, again, as it's noted there and as we've talked about in class, is just kind of a place to understand where to study. But by watching this, if you're taking the time to watch all of this, I'm going to explain maybe the main themes that you should look at while going through this. Okay. So the first thing to note, because I know you guys are all going to ask me, and you do all the time, what's going to be on the test? Well, it's about 80 points, and we're looking at about 5 different sections. So we have, of course, our true and false here, our matching, fill in the blank, multiple choice, and short answer. You've seen all of these in tests before. You've seen it in your final, or your midterm, excuse me. So I'll go ahead and just add that up there just for you. All right, and again, note that it's just for studying, so these are places to look and places to go to. As we go through this, I apologize because the slides are kind of split. I mean, they're in slides rather than just the full document, but it's easier than creating an entire new PowerPoint. Okay, so let's start at the Industrial Revolution. This was at the beginning of first or second semester, so back in February when you came back from winter break. And we started by looking at the causes of the Industrial Revolution. So make sure that you're studying where did the Industrial Revolution come from, what inventions were revolutionizing industry, taking it out of the home for the first time and into factories, and then how those inventions then got over to the United States and factories began in the United States. When we're looking at industry in the United States, we want to look at, again, the Rhode Island system and the Lowell system, so understanding their differences and similarities as well. Both systems of employment in the textile factories on the East Coast. And then we're also looking at inventions that were made during this time, as well as the transportation revolution. So what new inventions and what new forms of transportation existed because of the Industrial Revolution, and how did this change the United States? Moving on from the Industrial Revolution, we're going to be talking about agriculture in the South. Remember, we started by talking about how the cotton gin was revolutionizing this southern agriculture. Before we had tobacco as a main product, now cotton was our main crop. Slavery was declining because of the cotton, but after the cotton gin was created, we see a rise in slavery, and we also see a rise in production of cotton and a rise in production in the North in the factories. So understand how the cotton gin is affecting both of these economies for the North and the South. This is going, again, to make a huge difference later on when we talk about slavery. The Mexican-American War is our next little topic that we talked about. And the Mexican-American War, you can rewatch that video if you'd like to kind of search through it and find the main points. But the Mexican-American War, as long as you understand the causes and the effects of it. You don't need to understand every single little battle, but if you understand the causes of the war and why the United States wanted to take this land and why this idea of manifest destiny was so strong. And then also looking at the effects of it. So what land did the United States acquire and at what cost? And then what is the United States going to achieve because of this new land that they gained? And it's going to be quite a bit. Next, we were looking at immigration and reform. We took a look at the populations moving to the United States between 1840 and 1860. So mainly the Irish and the Germans, understanding why they came over, and also what they did once they came over is pretty important. Now, along the lines of immigration, we also have some reform movements that are occurring in the United States. We looked at the temperance movement that dealt with alcohol. We looked at the common school movement that dealt with providing a common place of education for all students, as well as the abolition movement and furthering women's rights. So what you need to look at here is how did this how did all these reform movements affect women's rights? So how are they leading to women furthering their rights? And then how are they changing the United States? Because there's going to be a lot of dramatic changes at this time through society and the economy. In terms of abolition, we looked at how these effects of abolition are going to further lead to the Civil War. And we'll get to that in just a second. Let's now move on to the westward expansion. This bit was about the Oregon Trail and the gold rush. Remember, after the United States acquired Mexico and also Oregon, we now see this move out west because of a variety of reasons, including the gold rush as well as starting a new life, trapping for missionary work. There are a few reasons there. So now that we have this huge population moving out west, that and abolition are going to be some of the causes of the Civil War that we're looking at. So go through the PowerPoint on the causes of the Civil War and take a look at the different causes. So understand why each cause that we examined led to the Civil War. So the acts of John Brown or the popular sovereignty of the new western states, there are a variety of reasons why this war happened. So need to understand these causes. And then we move into the Civil War itself. So the Civil War itself, again, you don't need to understand the specific battles, but we're driving home the idea that this war was extremely deadly, by far the bloodiest of American history. And it's changing society and it's changing the economy. So all of these effects of the Civil War on the United States, understand those. Now, when the war ends, the war is ending and we need to bring the southern states back into the Union. So how are we going to do that efficiently and safely? You don't want to punish them too much, remember, because if you punish them too much, then the economy of the United States is going to struggle and the tensions are going to be even higher than they already were. So the Reconstruction era, we kind of mentioned that this week. I'd like to spend more time on it, but given the time that we have, make sure that you're understanding the effects of the war and what problems still existed because of the war. Now, as you go through this little video, as well as the study guide itself, all of the PowerPoints, the videos, questions, make sure that you are also looking at your tests, understanding the vocabulary words. You will not be tested on your vocabulary words, but they will appear. And if you are confused by them, remember, I'm not in the room, can't help you. So understanding those vocab terms is vital. If you do have any questions, feel free to email me. My email again is, let's see, I'll write it down here. Or also feel free to send me a message on Twitter, created one just for the class or just for my teaching. And I will try to answer them promptly. Keep in mind that I do have it's a busy time of year for me as well, but I will do my best to answer these questions fast because I know that your test is on Sunday. Bring any questions to class as well. That would be the easiest time for me to answer them, but otherwise, feel free to ask me at any moment. All right, good luck.